Good morning and welcome to the first ever weekly sync presented by Marketplace.com. Just like Marketplace, we're here to talk about stock news and help you make better investing decisions. That said, here's what you need to watch in the markets this week, and if you want more, sign up for our free newsletter, link in the description. First story today, Trump's tariffs are back. While the first round was struck down a few months back by the Supreme Court as unconstitutional, that officially lapsed on Thursday, so Trump was ready with another round to start back on Friday. This round of tariffs is near identical to the first one. Nearly every trading partner the U.S. trades with was hit with between a 10 and 12.5% tariff on literally everything that comes into the U.S. This includes new tariffs specifically on Brazil, Australia, China, Mexico, India, the entire European Union, and a whole lot more. More than 99% of all U.S. imports are going to be hit by these new tariffs. So what does that mean for you and me? At least for right now. While these tariffs are new, they basically mimic the ones that have already been in place for months now, so we've already been paying them. Next question on your mind, of course, is what does this mean for the stock market? Again, probably not much, at least in the short term. These are the exact same tariffs that we've been paying. All of this has already happened once. It's the exact same thing, just under a different name. Last question in the story, what makes these tariffs different from the ones that were just struck down as unconstitutional? Long story short, it's a different legal framework, a different law being used by the Trump administration, different one from last time at least. I'm not going to get into that here, but if you want more details, check us out, marketplace.com, where I go into even more depth. Moving forward, the Institute for Highway Safety, the IIHS, you've probably heard of them, released their independent safety report stating that Waymos are actually safer than human drivers. And it's not close. In their study, they found that Waymo's robotaxis are responsible for as few as 76% fewer crashes than human drivers and 81% less crashes that involve injuries. Why is this important? Well, the IIHS, founded all the way back in 1959, is an independent agency that does their own research. You've probably heard of the crash tests they do, and creates their own academic reports. Now, surprisingly, the results of this independent study are actually pretty close to the numbers that Waymo releases in their own independent reports. Now, that doesn't mean we're going to start trusting Waymo implicitly and everything they say is suddenly gospel, but this is a huge vouch of confidence for the robotaxi company, the first of maybe many to come. While Waymo's robotaxis are only active in 4 cities, the data in this study is a little limited, and the IIHS mentions that, but it does paint a promising future for a potential driverless world in maybe just a few years. That said, Waymos are cool and all, but stepping away from Waymo, let's look at a company that you and I can buy stock in. A company who's focusing a lot on driverless cars. A company that has maybe bet their entire future on the idea of robo-taxis. That's right, we're here to talk about Tesla. Elon Musk has said several times that the company's future is driverless cars, and he sees that as the main route to future profitability, future growth, and future share price appreciation. Unlike Waymo though, Tesla is taking a wildly different approach to autonomous driving. While Waymo is using their LiDAR technology, Tesla's relying solely on cameras. Some critics argue that Tesla's approach, while it is much cheaper, especially for end consumers, it's less safe than Waymo's because Waymo has more tech, more checks, and more redundancies. While that's not absolutely definitive, the numbers still to be seen, this study paints a great picture that maybe Waymo's tech is worth it. Now, is this all going to be the nail in the coffin for Tesla's robotaxi dreams? No, not even close. But it's definitely worth a watch. A lot of consumers have some level of distrust toward driverless cars, and it's almost entirely related to safety issues and concerns. If Waymo can prove their own safety before Tesla can prove theirs, or more importantly, if Waymo can prove that they are significantly safer than Tesla's robotaxis, Tesla's at serious risk of losing majority market share and is going to have to pivot the entire company. Moving into our last story today, China's answer to Micron just went live for trading. Memory maker Changzhen Technology Group, also known as their ticker CXMT, IPO'd and shares jumped more than 450% in their first day of trading. And you thought SpaceX was crazy. As foreign investors, it's basically impossible to invest directly in Chinese markets, so you and me aren't going to be buying it anytime soon. But that said, their prospectus is still worth taking a look at. CXMT's IPO comes at a time where memory chips and RAM are arguably one of the most important pieces of tech in the world right now. The AI boom has put a major strain on the world's memory card market, as AI companies are buying up absolutely insane amounts to train their AI models on, and of course build data centers in the US internationally. But other tech outside of AI, from drones to phones, still need these chips. Looking to IPO filings, CXMT, as of right now, holds an almost 8% share of the world's RAM market. And I don't have to tell you, that's an absolutely insane amount. Looking at this though from a geopolitical lens and how this affects us in the US, are we going to benefit from the growth? Are RAM prices suddenly going to crash as manufacturing ramps up in China? Best answer is kind of maybe. The company is not on the US's entity list like many other Chinese companies and several other large companies internationally, and they have the supporting of some companies like Apple that are begging the Trump administration to allow US companies to buy CXMT memory chips and maybe pass the savings back on to you and me. That said, other people are calling this a national security issue and calling for a full-on ban of CXMT chips, so we're all kind of just holding our breath, waiting to see what Trump's going to do. Closing out with earnings calls. Healthcare company AstraZeneca is reporting this morning, and of course you got to check back later this week. We'll post a short with some updates. But that's probably one of the least exciting ones this week. Tomorrow, Visa, Coke, Boeing, all pretty cool companies, but Wednesday is the big day. We've got Microsoft and Meta, a direct peek into the AI market and the consumer market. So you know we're going to be watching that. Head over to marketplace.com for some live updates. But then the fun really keeps going on Thursday with Amazon and Apple both reporting. Will Apple mention CXMT chips? God, I hope so. Lastly, we've got Friday with both Exxon and Chevron reporting in on the oil market. Going to be a super interesting listen with the effects of the Iran war on oil prices and oil supply in full effect. What are these CEOs going to have to say? Both companies have been linked to Venezuela since that whole thing happened that we'll cover later. Is that coming through? Will we get an update on that? I don't know, but I'm excited. That's all for this week, though. Tune in next week to keep on top of the market news and sign up for free on marketplace.com to join the discussion and catch up on everything that we didn't cover here.